Hey guys, it's Postbox Pat and welcome back to all 10 weeks of the alien artifacts inside of Fortnite Season 7. You're going to want to grab all these to complete your complete alien. I'm going to be starting at week 10 with the first one coming in over at the shark inside the elevator shaft. You'll find it inside of here at the very bottom. This is week 10, the first one for week 10. The reason we work backwards is I assume most of you may have already done the earlier ones, but they're obviously towards the end of the video if you want to go that way. Also, if you are new around here, don't forget to tap that subscribe button. As always, this content really does help me out and everyone else in the community, so support it over here by tapping that subscribe. And don't forget to tap a like on today's video and use code POST, that's P-O-S-T, in your item shop. Anyway, let's move on to our next one, which is actually flying south towards the location of the actual kind of, I think it's called Shantytown, is it? Outside of the Slurpy area, and you'll find it over here. If you turn around to the right over here, you'll find the little town, and this is where Big Chuggers used to be located, and this is where the second artifact is for week 10. They're all kind of in strange places for week 10. It is the final week, so kind of interesting. You can see this one here is up here, so make sure you are grabbing this one as well to get yourself some points for your alien. Now the next one after this is going to be deeper into the map. It's actually going to be heading towards the location of just outside of Hydra Dam, by where the trees are cut down for Christmas. Now this is just off the road over here in this triple tree structure, just off the road of where all the trees were cut down for the Christmas shop. You'll find it just there, which is just outside, I guess, of Weeping, outside of Hydra, in this triple location. Kind of a difficult one to spot because you don't usually go by there unless you're just driving by. Now the next one we're going to be going to is towards the IO base outside of Misty in the hills. Now it isn't on the dish. A lot of them have been on the dish in the past, but it's not on the dish this one. It's actually going to be inside of this container to your left, this little blue container at the IO base on top of the tower up here. So that's where this one's located, at base number 6, outside of, I guess, the Misty Meadows tower up here. So yeah, that's pretty cool, and you'll find it right there. So pretty good spot, and yeah, head over there to grab that one. Now the final one in week 10 is actually located at the drop spot over here, just outside of Camp Cod on the upper hill with the helipad, outside of the Catty Corner area as well, where the radio tower, or the weather station it's actually called, and you can see we have the solar panels on the floor down here. This is a really cool spot you can head into. You can see the alien artifact is just underneath the solar panels, and that is where your 10th one is for week 10. Now moving on to week 9, because there's a bunch in there as well. I'm going to go through all the weeks for you guys. Week 9, we're going to be starting over on the top side of the map by the by the Craggy Cliffs location, and this is actually in between Craggy and Stealthy, inside of this little hut right here. Now this is inside one of the storyline related huts with obviously the bunkers and stuff which relate to the storyline. You can see here we do have the artifact just on top of the bunker, so make sure you are popping over here to grab that artifact. It's a decent spot. I highly recommend popping in if you are passing by this location. It's actually a great little spot to grab it, and it's kind of one out of the way, so maybe just land here for a game and loot up this section. Now while you're over here, you're going to want to head towards the Sweaty Sands location, and that's where your next artifact is going to be this week. It's actually going to be on the far side. If you know where the modern house is, where the Reaper skin is usually located as an NPC, he sadly isn't there this season, but it's where the Reaper skin has been located in the past by the modern house. But rather than in the modern house, it's actually just outside towards the sea on these little islands, and you'll find this little yellow hut, and it's inside of here. That's where you'll find it there, outside of the modern house area, also outside of the Holly Hatchery, all the holly hedges, just here on these little islands in the sea. You can see the modern house just there. So yeah, that's where you have that right there. Now moving on to the next one. This is quite a difficult one that I struggled to find for a while. This is actually inside of the Weeping section. And the best way of finding it is actually coming to this old Spire Guardian tower, then head down here, and you'll actually see this little kind of a small shack with kind of one of the artifacts inside of it. This actually leads up to the main spire, so if you're spiraling up the hill, you'll find it. So yeah, make sure you just spiral up the hill, and you should spot that right there, and that's where the artifact is. It's also just outside of where the gnomes used to be prisoned down below, if you remember that. So yeah, pretty cool stuff in that spot. This next one is super easy. It's in the center IO base, outside of the wreckage in the center where the spire used to be, in the center of the map, and it's on top of the dish. Very easy one to grab. You just want to land up here, grab that, and probably use a launch pad and go somewhere else. You could probably get them two in the same game. There's a bunch around here in this section as well. Now continuing on, we're going to be moving through towards, I guess, in between kind of it's quite hard to describe where this is, but it's like in between a lot of the POIs. It's like the petrol station, in between the center, I guess the farms, the corner, and a few other POIs. Even dirty as well, retail. It's just one of the main petrol stations on the map. It's got a little store in, and you can find this one in the center. Most of you have probably already naturally picked this up. It's kind of a good rotational spot. A lot of people do rotate through this area. Just a quick side note, I want to thank everyone supporting my 50 fashion show map inside of Fortnite Creative. I know we've been pushing this here a lot on the channel, but we finally made it into the most played section under the variety, under number 3. So if you want to go and give 50 fashion a go and you haven't yet played it, or you've already played it, all the themes have changed. So it's a brand new kind of cycle of themes, and it's just really awesome. So go and try it out. It's a 50 player fashion show. You'll find it inside the Creative Hub. Thank you everyone supporting this map and playing it. Without you guys, we would have never been able to achieve this huge goal. Now in week 8, we have a bunch as well for you guys. The first one's actually going to be inside of the Hydro Dam, and it's going to be on the upper level in the section in the middle of the dam, and you can see that right there. So there we have that one inside of the Hydro 16, which is pretty cool. So that's the location of that one. A little bit difficult to reach, but I'm sure many of you will be okay with that one. Now moving on to our next one. This one's actually going to be heading towards the location of the Weeping Woods area. I'm going to fly over Weeping Woods and head towards kind of one of the purpley areas where the trees have kind of mismatched with the alien life forms. And it's actually in this purple patch here in between Sweaty Sands and the bony tilted area. And you can see here, this is where it's going to be, just inside of this little purple patch. Now, many of you have probably rotated through that purple patch. I'm sure you'll know where it is. It's in between Sweaty, Bony, and even Weeping. Just a little purple patch is where the artifact is located for that one right there. Now, moving on to our next artifact, which is actually going to be on the far side. Again, kind of a distance for this week, for week 8, but it's worth traveling and worth grabbing this one. It's actually going to be on this hill right here. So you know this big hill where a lot of people just land to kind of loot and then rotate out. It usually has a car on sometimes as well, or like a football. It's actually going to be located by this big rock on this backside, this big metal piece actually, which is shattered from the spire. That's where it's located, underneath that. So it's not a rock, it's a metal piece. But yeah, you'll find it by this big hill here, just outside of Corney, also outside of the farm, the orchard farm. So yeah, I'm sure many of you will be okay grabbing that one right there underneath that metal spire piece. Now, the next one we've got is we're actually in another strange spot. So many strange spots because, you know, you just don't expect this. This is by the Lake Canoe, but it's not going to be in the Lake Canoe. It's going to be in the IO base underneath the helicopter pad. A really strange spot for it, but you'll find it here just underneath the helicopter pad right here, and that's where that one's located, just outside of Lake Canoe. So yeah, grab that one if you're rotating through. You want to pick that up. It's an easy rotational one. Again, kind of nice. And then the final one this week is actually going to be in another weird spot. You want to follow down the river towards the Camp Cod area, past Lazy. Maybe grab a boat if you're rotating through to this one, or if you're rotating from Camp Cod, this is a great one to grab. It's actually going to be on this river path, but it's going to be by this kind of wooden bridge here outside of Camp Cod. It's going to be in this little kind of X little space here underneath this wooden bridge, and you'll find it right there. So if you're rotating through this area, again, this is a great one for you guys to grab. Gives you a bunch of kind of rotational options. If you're landing in with maybe the Camp Cod area, or you're landing in maybe Misty or Lazy, you can rotate through and pick that one up if you've got some time. Now, week 7, this is a good one as well. So this is starting off over at the Stealthy Strongholds area, and you'll actually find this one in one of the main towers on the front door where the gates are in Stealthy, and it's in the upper tower on that back right corner of the tower if you're looking towards the top of the map. So yeah, kind of good and an easy one to grab if you're rotating through. Not many people really land Stealthy anymore, so generally it's probably not that populated. You should be able to grab that one quite easy. Now the next one is just by the radio tower, but rather than actually being in the radio tower, it's going to be inside the IO base again. You know, there's a lot of these inside IO bases, to be honest, and I'm sure many of you have visited the IO bases to rotate out using the launch pads. So again, another one you can pick up when you're rotating inside this IO base here. It's actually in the main kind of layer, and it's just there on the floor. So yeah, in the main computer room, the offices, you'll grab it there and you'll be set to go. So there is that one there for the second one for the week 7 period. Now, if we move on to our next one, this one again, it's going to be kind of a bit of a distance, but it's worth traveling to, so I can show you guys where this one is. And as we begin to rotate over here, it's actually going to be on the bridge. So if you guys know the bridge where the, I guess, boats are, so this is the location of this one. So it's going to be on this bridge where these boats are, and it's kind of an awkward one to get. I'm sure if you grab a boat, it'll probably hit it, or if you just glide into it, it's probably a lot easier if you're just gliding down to grab this one. And you'll find it here when the kind of, you could build down, I guess, but boats or glide would probably be the best option, just there at that bridge location where the boats are. out by the center of the map. An easy one to grab again. Make sure you are grabbing that one, guys. Not too difficult at all. Now, if we move through a little bit further and have a look what else there is, you can see as we begin to rotate back towards this bridge section, we're actually going to be heading into Camp Cod to show you guys this one. And this is another easy one inside of Camp Cod. I'm sure, again, you could rotate in this and get some of the other weeks as well around this section of the map. It's actually in the firing range or the training area inside of Camp Cod, and it's going to be located in the back section. You can go inside of here and you'll find it just here. It's an easy one to grab, and I'm sure many of you will be okay grabbing this one here in this upper section with this broken kind of area. So yeah, grab that one in Camp Cod, and once you've grabbed that one, the final one in this week 7 is actually going to be back at the back of Slurpee again, where the rig used to be located on the far side of the map, with these helipads, which still we never got helicopters introduced. So I don't know really why we had these helipads, unless these IO bases are staying one more season and helicopters come back next season, which could be a highly likely possibility. Inside of here, you want to go inside this IO base, head up the stairs, and take your first left when you go upstairs. You'll actually find the cubicle area in the toilets. It's actually in this first cubicle here, and you can also go through this back building here. If you don't want to go up the stairs, you can break through the number 3 area here, and you'll actually find it if you break through the number 3 area. So you should be pretty good. Break through that there with the number 3, and you'll grab it, and there it is. So that's the week 7 one for you guys. Let's move on over to week 6 though and show you guys some of these. So inside of Fortnite week 6, the first one is going to be located over at the Locky Lighthouse area. You'll find it here, and this one is actually going to be in the little shack. So not the main house, but kind of like the little garage on the side, and you'll find it down here just in the on the floor just there, the little building there over at the lighthouse. So yeah, kind of an easy one. I'm sure all of you know where the lighthouse is. If you don't know, it's just outside of Stealthy by the Shark, and also outside of Coral Castle. So that's where the lighthouse is located. Now we're going to be moving through the map a little bit faster this time. It's going to be more towards the intersection. This one's actually going to be coming in over at Corny Complex. Again, this one is quite a difficult one that took me a while to find, because you don't really rotate through here. You do, but you kind of move fast because it's really kind of an action-based area, and you get it a little bit mixed up with the others. So keep an eye out here, guys. This is really important. It's actually this one here. So this little green shack here on the side, which is kind of facing towards the center of Corny by the big tower. You'll find it here on this upper section. You can also see them on your map when you're in game. If you don't know, the artifacts do pop up on your map, so you should be good finding it. Just use your map as well in game to help you with that extra support if you don't know which one it is. So yeah, that's the location of that one. Now moving on to our next one, which is going to be in another purple kind of area, which is in between 2 of the power pylons here, and you can see here, this is where it's going to be located here, right there in kind of like a triple treat kind of area in between these pylons here, linking up towards Steamy and Retail. So purple little area, kind of in the middle of nowhere. You got Dirty over there on the far side as well. So yeah, really crucial area. I'm sure you'll find it though. A nice little easy one to pick up. And as we rotate through again, we're going to be heading to the back of Retail this time. And this one's actually going to be located on the far side of Retail Row as we continue to keep going through. It's not inside of Retail, but you know, on the, I like to call it, it's not even the back of Retail really. It's where kind of the Christmas event took place. And up here, you'll find kind of 3 blue little shacks with a load of camping tents, and then in this little one here on the upper one, the bigger one, it's actually in that section there, So yeah, kind of easy to grab. Make sure you do grab that one, guys, just outside of Retail, I guess, outside of Catty Corner as well, in the little camping area. I'm sure many of you know where that is. Really on the edge of the map though. Again, not many people really go there. It's kind of like a dead spot, to be honest, one that I personally avoid most of the time. And then finally, the final one this week is going to be heading towards this location, past the IO base, past a bunch of these POIs, and we're going to actually be heading to the location where Aurelia was located, outside of Flush Factory. She came in last season, so you know she's gone now, but this was her POI and her introduction area inside this old abandoned building outside of Flush. And you'll actually find the artifact inside of this building if you drop down into it. Again, you probably will never land here since the Scar's no longer here, but you're going to need to land here to grab this alien artifact. So pick that up, guys. It's outside of the Flush Factory area. Maybe just land Flush and rotate over there with a boat, or land there, rotate back over to Flush, loot Flush, and then kind of rotate through. So yeah, kind of a nice little spot. And coming in with week 5, the first one is actually inside of the Misty Meadows POI, and it's an easy one to grab, guys. You'll find it right up here inside of the tower by the clock tower, and this is a really good spot for you guys, so make sure you are popping in and landing down here. That is your first one for week 5. So we're going to work backwards, like I said, from week 5 all the way down to week 1, so make sure you guys have got all your artifacts, and let me know in the comments how you guys are doing on actually upgrading your alien. Have you got all the artifacts yet? Let me know. I might make a separate video on how to get the chest faster as well, so we can kind of get there and everyone can complete every single style for their alien. Okay, so obviously we're heading into number 2 for the week 5, and this one is inside a retail just by the bus shelter. I think every single person should know where this one is. If you landed retail before, it's right by the bus. You should know that one pretty easy. It's a very easy one. Next one is the third one, which is inside of the Sweaty Sands location. This one is actually inside of the blue house here at Believers Beach, or Sweaty Sands, whatever you want to call it, and it's actually just inside of here on the top floor. It's a little bit glitchy at the minute because obviously the party's just finished, and as I'm recording this, a new render hasn't been updated in the files, so it kind of just glitches out. But you'll find it there in top of the blue house up there, just like I showed in that replay. And then the fourth one coming in for week 5 is actually inside of Pleasant at the top of the center of Pleasant Park, in actually the park section of the park, and you can actually see it up here in the top little veranda area. So that's where that one is. And then the final one inside of week 5 before we go on to week 4 is actually going to be located all the way over by the radio tower. So you see the radio tower is actually down to the left over here by the coast by these 5 trees, and you'll find it on the very left tree just underneath that tree there. So I'll just zoom out so you can kind of get an idea where this is, so it's easy to see. In between Craggy and obviously the Steamy Stats location is where the radio tower is, and if you come down from the radio tower, you'll find these 5 trees by a campfire, and you should see it right here. Hopefully that will give you a good enough overview of where to find that one for those looking for it. Okay, jump in for week 4. We've actually got a bunch in here as well, which are a little bit easier to grab. Some of them can be a little bit complicated, and the first one is going to be coming in at Holly Hatchery. So you'll actually find this one inside of the actual center section underneath this kind of, I guess, structure, which has got all like the storage on and that. Now this would have changed in game for you right now, because as I filmed this, it was a previous week, but obviously right now there's a current map change here, so you'll have to go in and find it underneath all the new map changes, but you should see it just in the center there, and that's the location of that one. Make sure you are grabbing these. And for those that don't already know, yes, you can grab the ones from previous weeks at a later date, so if you do miss any, they don't get removed from the game. They are permanently in the game all the way through, so don't worry if you are missing these. Okay, the second one we've got for week 4 is actually going to be inside of Weeping, and you're going to find this one here inside of this house here through this window. Very easy to get to just by the climbing frame, or you can come through the front entrance, should I say, and go to like the window there and go that way. I'd just come through the back way. It's a lot easier, and it's easier to realize where it is. It's just by this caravan park here. It can be a little bit complicated, this one. I know this one for me took a while to find in game, but once I kind of worked out where it was quite easy to get, and I think you guys should be able to get that one nice and easily. Okay, moving on to the next one in this week, which is actually coming in over this direction, because we will find it over here, and you should spot it quite easily, guys. It's inside of Lazy, and it's just over here in this back section by the yellow and blue house, which you see here in this little garage section. So this one again isn't really a very common one. It's quite an easy one to spot if you are coming over here, but it's not very common at all. So make sure you are coming into that garage section if you want to grab that, because obviously you want all your artifacts because you want to upgrade your alien. And if you are in Lazy, just pop in there and grab it. It's not too much of a difficult one to grab, but it's quite important. Next one I've got for you guys is coming in over at Dirty Docks. Now this one again can be difficult to find if you're looking at a map of them and you're not actually seeing someone collect it. This is why I do it in replay, so you can get like an overview flying in, so you know exactly where to dive in. It's the easiest way to do it. And you actually want to come to the far warehouse, which is the blue house on the very far side by the sea, and you'll actually find it underneath this metal structure here and the very far side of the warehouse on the corner of Dirty Docks. Again, a difficult one to spot, but if you actually come in, you will be able to find it, and obviously using this replay gives you guys a good overview of where they all are. The next one we've got is inside of Steamy. This one's an easier one because it's on the number 4 building. Just remember that as long as you go near that building here, you'll find it right here on the pipework here on number 4. Very easy to spot. It's like the only pipework really inside of Steamy that's major, so that's kind of nice. Now week 3, we're going to be moving into Coral Castle. This is in the center section of Coral Castle inside the building here, right in the very center, which is really neat and really cool. So that's nice to see that we have that one in the center of Coral. Interesting to see if Coral does get destroyed this season, they'll have to kind of move that artifact, or maybe they'll put it in the air for the reason, obviously, if it does get destroyed, you can just build up to it. Okay, the next one we've got is inside of Craggy Cliff, and it's actually in the boat storage room inside of here, one of my favorite spots to land in Craggy just for a laugh. And you can see that's the second one we've got for this week, just inside of Craggy in the boat little storage room. Very easy, just by the coastline. Then we're going to be moving on to our next one, which is actually a little bit of a trek where we have to fly over here for a little bit and show you guys where this one is. But it's important as well that you know all these, and obviously when you're landing in and stuff and when you're rotating, the rotation is usually the best I'm trying to do in these videos for you guys. And this one's actually going to be at Boney. So inside of here, we've got like a main building around here, and you'll actually spot it just through here on this upper level here. So really easy.
you can either land in from this side or kind of go the way I flew in and go up into it or go down to it, depending on where you land on the building. You should find it. It's in like the open section, which is kind of nice. Again, possibly leading to a change at Boney this season, because maybe they'll add maybe the original tilted or like a remixed version, and that would be cool to see that happening over at Boney. The next one we've got is obviously moving in over at Slurpee, and this one is again a really cool spot, one that you should definitely grab. It's actually in the smaller tower building, so the smaller building next to the main building, and you'll find it in that right corner right there. Not too difficult to spot, guys. Just remember it's the smaller building connecting to the main building, and you'll find it in this corner. It should be very easy, and you should be able to grab that one when you're next at Slurpee if you haven't already grabbed it. So there you go. That was the final one for week 3. Let's move on to week 2 now, guys, because there's a bunch in here you guys are going to grab. Okay, so moving on into week 2, we're going to be heading over to the grotto this time, and this is going to be on the far side, on the upper section of the grotto where the pipe used to lead down into the main area. And you can see this is exactly where it is, just by this kind of satellite dish, and you'll find it on the upper section of the old grotto location, just outside of retail for those that don't already know where the grotto is. Then we're going to be moving over back towards the Spire Guardian Tower in between Lazy and Misty, and you'll actually find another one over by this Guardian Tower, but it's not going to be in the Guardian Tower. It's actually just going to be on its little shack next to it in the little structure. So you'll find that right here as I rotate in. You'll find it just outside this little building here where the Guardian used to kind of camp out. So that's really cool to see that we've got that added in over at this Guardian Tower. Now if we continue to move further around the map, we will actually find that we've got other stuff as well. So I'm going to go over here and show you guys what we've got, because we've obviously got more for week 2. We've got the third one coming in now, which I need to show you guys, which is actually going to be on the bridge in between the farm section. So you can find it here on the primal bridge in between the farm and obviously the main section of the map by Misty, and that's on that primal bridge there. So that's not too difficult to spot. I'm sure you guys know where that is from last season, that primal bridge. It's one of the last 2 primal bridges on the map, so it's the further one by the Corny Complex farm area. Now we're going to be moving into the second to last one this week, which is going to be coming in with the 4th one, and you can see this one again is by the Spire Tower outside of the actual stealthy stronghold area. So you'll find that one just on the lower section of the Spire Tower there, and then we're going to be moving into the final one, which is actually all the way over at the dish, over at one of the IO bases outside of the Believers Beach area, which you can see here on my left, and this is going to be situated actually on the satellite itself inside of this IO base location, just outside of Fort Crumpet. For those that don't know what that is, it's just the fort outside of Coral Castle, and you'll find this base here. You see it, and you'll see it actually on top of the dish. You need to kind of land up here or kind of build up to it. So on top of the main satellite dish is where you'll find that. Now week 1 has a bunch of other ones as well. The main one, which was first added into the game, was in the center section of the island where the Spire used to be. So yeah, don't forget to go here if you haven't already grabbed that one. I think most people by now would have grabbed all the week 1 ones, but just double check, guys, if you're still watching this video. If you haven't already grabbed these, it's important that you know every single location, just to double check that you've been to all these, and when you're near it again, you can always double check. That's what I recommend doing, guys. Obviously here's the next one coming in at number 2 inside of one of my favorite locations on the map, the Orchard location. So that's that one there. And then coming in with number 3 for you guys is actually going to be located back, rotating round towards the location of the actual Believers Beach once again, but it's not going to be inside of Believers Beach. It's just going to be outside again at the Spire Tower. So I feel like these Spire Towers really do have a lot of these artifacts on, and this time it's on the stairs, one that you probably wouldn't really go to because these Spire Towers aren't really used that much anymore. So yeah, make sure you are double checking these, because some of you may have missed these. It's so important that you don't miss any, guys, so please do double check. Like I said, it's very important that you don't want to miss out on them alien upgrades. And the next one we've got is going to be coming in at the old Durburger location before we move on to the final one. And it's actually not going to be in this main wooden pallet building, but behind here there's like a little storage yard, and you'll find this here, the indoor area, and you'll find it just inside that little building behind the main 2 buildings. That is where that one is there. And the final one for week 1 is going to be located on the far side, all the way past Misty, past Lazy, at one of the favorite POIs back from the original Chapter 2 Season 2, and that's going to be over at Catty Corner. And I'll show you guys where it is at Catty as we head over there. So you'll find it just on top of one of the little podiums that are used for where Kit used to train. I'll show you guys exactly where that is right now, or meowsles should I say. So heading in here, and there you have it. So yeah, that's exactly where it is. And don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you are new around here. Again, subscribe with notifications on, because I'll keep you updated on all the artifacts, with more artifact related videos on how to get your alien faster coming very, very soon.